Okay, this is the Judy Jam on November 19th, 2019. Going to be a small group, maybe just you, Lori. So
Cool.
Cool for you, right? And so we will share this right here. All right. So, hi, Judy. I'm stuck on teaching action steps. I still have only one step. Okay. Speech title, Ditching the Disaster Mentality. Ditching the disaster mentality, going from frizzled out to fired up. Okay, to fired up, ditching the disaster mentality. Okay, so what if we let me just read it all and then I'll see, because I'm thinking about, I think these are too similar and they kind of not discredit each other, but you know, so this was like that would be, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I do.
Of course I didn't spell it right.
I knew what you meant.
Go from fizzled out to fire up. You're very good with these alliterations. You're so good at that. You're a really good writer. Okay, problem. Dropping out as they can't sustain their enthusiasm. Okay. Okay, no, fizzling, quickly dropping out as they can't sustain their enthusiasm. They can't sustain. Yeah, that looks good. That's bam. Okay, today I'm going to show you how you can create this. Now, what is this for? Is this for?
This is for, you know, the companies like Mary Kay, Avon, the direct selling, the at-home business owners.
But is this a one sheet or a verbal pitch? Or?
Oh no, this was really just kind of a quick summary for you of what I'm working on.
Got
just
it.
So we knew for today what we were talking about. It's not.
Yeah.
I've got all of the you know, the background work, but this was just for today. So bring it back up to speed since I haven't been here in a while.
Go from, you know, dropping out as they can't sustain, as right over. Okay, so I'm going to show you how you can create a resiliency mindset. When you say you, who is that?
Those are, it's going to be like at a direct selling convention. So
no, today I'm going to show you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to show the team members.
Right, the independent business owners, consultants.
Yeah, I show consultants how to create. So yeah.
I mean, I have the pitch and I have it worded a little bit differently.
Okay, great.
It's just more summary for
me. Okay.
Background, yeah.
Once you learn the tools to get past, let me ask you something. Who are you teaching the resiliency mindset to? To the trainers who are going to teach the independent direct sales team? Or do you directly?
The actual consultants. They're the ones that would come to.
Yeah. Okay. So
I mean, I would pitch it to the company, but I would present to.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
Distributors.
Okay. The access will really help. Okay, credibility stories. It really helps with shifting her mindset by spending time with the mantra, allow for the possibility. And that things are not as they appear. Okay. Okay. What is this? Okay. Help her with the silver lining. okay. Tell me, can you want to talk a little about this? The credibility story. What is the story?
The story is, it's a consultant who had signed up and had been fired up and ready to go, but then she got defeated very quickly because of a bunch of crap that was going on. So in the end, she's still with the company many years later. So I kind of had to talk her off the ledge from quitting. She called me up and said, "This is crap. I'm going to quit. I'm blah, blah, blah."
What was the crap? What was the crap?
Oh, it was a number of things. Some of it was she had joined early in the company. So there was a lot of growing pains, and the corporate office they kept changing their mind what the rules were. First they said you can do this, then no, you can't do this. So she felt like she was getting jerked around. So it was basically,
so they kept changing everything, the ground rules.
Because it was she had joined early on. Yep. And they were trying to figure it out.
So she's joined, they're trying to figure it out, and they kept, saying, well, you're allowed to do this. No, you're not allowed to do this. Why are you doing that? Now, okay, all of that, right?
Yes.
And so she got frustrated because she was actually confused, and her confusion left to feeling like, I don't see the story here. I see the solution. That doesn't go here. The story.
Well, right. I don't have the story here.
All right. So the story is, Laverne, went, was, initially fired up, right? She was initially fired up. They changed policy, bonuses, I would imagine, blah, blah,
Yep.
And with each change, she, at first, she, adapted, right?
She was brand new. She was still excited.
Adapted, still excited, right? Excited. But, then they blah, blah, right? And she went to management for, clarification, and, she got more confusion, right? This led to her, what?
Well, she was ready to quit. I mean, she thought, okay, I made a terrible mistake again. She had just left one company that had a lot of problems, and she thought she was going to have the same repeat history with this new company.
She kept, so the backstory is that this had happened to her before?
Well, she was with a different company that changed the compensation plan. And so she said, see, I'm leaving. So then she joins this new company, and it was a totally different situation, but in her mind, they were screwing her over all over again.
Yeah, okay. So then backstory, her last job, they changed compensation, and she felt this company was going to screw her over again, her ready to quit. Now, right? And then what happened?
Well, she called me, and I actually just through a conversation, through a number.
Is she a friend? Is she a friend of yours?
Well, not really. I mean, she was in my downline. I was the upline, the spot. I didn't sponsor.
Okay. Yeah. So
the person who sponsors her was no help. So she kept going up the chain, and she got to me, and she's like, this is my crap. I quit. I'm like, well, just calm down. Let's talk about this.
Went up chain, found no help. She called me, right?
Yes.
Ready to quit, and not only quit, but she was going to was she going to post on social media or?
Well, I don't know what she was really threatening to do. She was from the East Coast, so she didn't mince any words. She was just very vocal, and she was going to trash the company. And
very vocal and was motivated to trash company, right?
Yes.
Share her experience with anyone who would listen online, as as when employees are not heard, they get very motivated to bring to have their opinions heard by anyone, right?
Correct.
Yelp. Right. Da, 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 right. So she found me. Hi, Sandy.
Oh, hi.
How you doing?
Good.
I'm just working with Lori for a second. She found me, and what did you do?
Well, the short answer is I talked her off the ledge. I mean, I listened to her, but then I got her to look at things differently, to shift her mindset.
Okay.
In the end, she did not quit.
Okay, so you listened to her, right? She found me, right? And at the end, she didn't quit. And then what happened?
She's still with the company. She's still sailing.
Found me
10 years later.
And I worked this technique to get her off, to talk her off the ledge. Not only did she not quit, but years later, she is still working at this company and is a huge asset. Okay. What did I do? Okay, so what did you do? And that phone call becomes all your action steps.
But I just have that one.
What's the one?
The one is here. I mean, I call it the allow for the possibility mindset. So it's like an exercise that says like, okay, can you allow for the possibility that maybe there is more to the story? Can you allow to the possibility?
Well, that's not what you told me you did. You first listened.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay, so that's an action step.
So you're
right?
All right.
Action step, listen. Okay. Now, listen, it's not a listening and create the experience of being heard. So there's, the problem with, and this is a huge problem right now with, the Me Too movement and everything, is that, and companies are ending up real problems because nobody knows who to turn to, right? If you turn to management and then you get demonized and fired. I mean, my friend's a waitress. She's having this problem of, there was some kind of, people have a problem with a certain, the way they changed the pay thing, but if you complain about it, they feel they'll be fired or wrong, or and so there's nobody to talk to, and when there's no one to talk to, these things build up. So there's two things here, and I would put and I don't know how many action steps you want, but there's like, one is create a safe place for employees to vent.
I thought you said I should ideally have like at least 2 or 3.
Yeah, create safe employees to be heard. I mean, that's what you did, the first thing you did, you know, without any threat of retaliation. And that's really hard to do. You're going to have to say, how do we set that up? How does a company do that? You know, I mean, certainly the day of the Harvey Weinstein thing, there was no one. And you know, Jesus, if you read Rowan Farrell's book, everybody who at NBC who complained about Matt Lauer, they were demonized. I mean, this is a huge issue now, especially in, you know, this Trump era of safe places for whistleblowers. And there aren't any, and people just quit.
Right.
And it's not just sexual harassment, it's all sorts of things, right?
No, you're absolutely right.
So
yeah, it's too easy for people just to quit and say nothing. Or
yeah, it's easier. It's easier because, you know, there's gossip, there's all sorts of stuff. So were you one of the few women there? This was a woman, right?
No, it's heavily women company, but she just couldn't find anybody to give a damn, really.
Uh-huh.
In fact, when she called me, she was just like, if you can't help me, then I'm going to just keep going until I can find somebody. But I was kind of at the top, so there wasn't a whole lot other places left.
Well, why wasn't there someone at the bottom who could help her?
She had, I don't know how familiar you are with direct sales. It's kind of a whole world unto itself. But she signed up with a random person online who she didn't talk to first. She didn't know anybody. And it was the wrong pick because the person she signed up with didn't really care. And she was stuck with that person. You don't get to switch your sponsor, your mentor. So, but she just said, well, she called the corporate office and said, who's this person's boss? Because this person's not helping me. Somebody's going to help me.
Yeah, I mean, this was a frustration I had with the landscape company that I paid a great deal of money. They didn't do the job right. And and I'm looking up the CEO of the company. Like, so this is a problem for management, though, that management needs to create this kind of thing, right? I mean, so
this is such a unique situation, though, because in direct sales, the parent company is essentially the supplier, and all the independent business owners are not employees, they're 1099 contractors. So it's a little bit different than an employee situation, but they share some similarities. But it's basically up to the uplines and the sponsors. It's like, if you need help, you get it from whoever you can.
Yeah. So I don't know what your things are, because like right now, if you're taught, it's kind of murky. Let me just explain my thoughts here. And obviously I don't know a lot about this industry, although I'm writing a speech for someone who's a VP of a company like this, and he's talking to his salespeople, right?
Right.
And, I think it's people considered bullshit if you go, come on, hang in there and let's fire you up. And it's like, yeah, but there's all these things, these elephants in the room in the way of it, and nobody seems to be addressing that.
And that's what annual conventions are, to get them fired up without this fluff. It's like, but how?
Yeah, so how are you going to get them fired up? Because in this story, she found you. Hi, everybody, I'm working with Lori, and then I'll get to you guys. She found you someone to work with, right? So the action steps need to then, instead of create a safe space for employees to be heard, they can't do that, is to find someone to talk to. It's just a tough one. What is your action step here?
Well, the action step that I came to this with today was what we have underneath, was that I tried to get her to look at things differently. to change her mindset by saying, can you allow for the possibility that there's a lot else going on, and to get her to see the other side of what the corporation was doing and realize they weren't really out to screw her over. So I think for me to create a resilient mindset, a lot of the times it is just to look at things, to get out of your own shell and arrows out, stop looking at yourself all the time and look at it a different way, which is the crux of my whole presentation. And that's why I stuck the last couple months, because I'm like, is there even anything here? I feel like it's kind of weak.
Well, I think it is a little weak. And I think what the problem is that we are not clear on what diminishes their enthusiasm. And those are things that have to be addressed. Life gets in the way, things are busy, you don't, have a schedule when you're doing this. I mean, what are specific things that I can do to self-motivate myself to do it? I mean, for me, to motivate me, because I'm an independent contractor, I guess, I work for myself. How do I motivate myself? I use Google Calendar, and I make very specific dates with people where I'm working on a project. And I will, even if it's not a person who's really good, I will hire them to go to be very time and date specific. So maybe that could be one thing, be time and date specific with your goal. So it's like, how do you, when have kids running around and you're doing this and this and this, how do you keep your level of enthusiasm up? Right? What do you do? Now, one of the things is to have a mentor. You mentored this person to help them see the possibility.
But ideally, everybody's supposed to have a mentor. The person that they sign up with, their sponsor, is supposed to be their mentor.
Well, maybe one of the action steps is how to have a conversation with your mentor. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so what's an interesting thing with the audience, though, is half of the people are going to be the mentors and half of the people are trying to build a team so they can be mentors. So it's going to be top down and bottom up in the same audience.
Yeah, well, I as far as this going, allow for the possibility that things, change your mindset. Okay, how do I change my mindset? I'm not getting to do the work I want. I'm not getting the money I thought I would. And this is just like everything else in my life isn't working. What do I do? I want some specific things, what I do.
So do I. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm like, I don't know where to go with this. I feel like I put all this work into it.
There's been a lot of books written about this. Find them and see what their action steps are and then rephrase them.
Yeah, but you know what? Okay, and I don't want to sound like an excuse, but I seriously have delved so much into resiliency and bouncing back, and it just has to go with like fix your mind.
Fix your mind. But how do you do it? What are the steps? So action steps are, for instance, start with, if you're having trauma, saying, clean out the power of purpose. Like, how do you find your power of purpose? My first action step when I did that was clean out your closet, because a closet is a metaphor for your life. Okay, that's my action step. Then there's several of them. I have when I do the podcast, there's always an action step of what to do. You have to find what are yours.
Okay, well, I don't want to hog up everybody's time, but let me ask you this. Do you think I'm looking for action steps to be resilient, or am I looking for action steps how to change your mind, which will give you the resiliency?
Well, it's how to keep fired up and not fizzled out. How do you do that? Maybe exercise? I don't know. I mean, it's your content.
I know, but see, I feel like I'm still right back at the same spot. My action step is you have to change your mind, and here's how you do it. Here's the questions that you have to say to yourself every single day. So now I still don't know where to go with it. I mean,
So I say, I'm going to allow for the possibilities that things aren't what they appear to be. All right, I still don't have motivation, enthusiasm. I mean, it's like, I think a mantra is, I think is a little California woo-woo. I think people want very specifics on, and I think what you need to do, Lori, is really look at your own work habits. And, you know, you are a person who is, you're always like right on it. You do the homework, you put it in, you know, how do you do that? What do you do? Not everybody's like you. And when they're not like you, what do they do? Like, so you have to look at, how do you motivate yourself? What works for you, right? What do you do when you don't want to do things? I mean, how do you do it? How do you do it? I feel one thing that's so important is to keep track of data of what you're doing, your time, and how many hours, and always keep track of it. I find that's really valuable. Like I wasn't working for me because, oh yeah, I'm going to get to work, I'm going to get to doing my projects. But unless it's in my calendar, and unless another person's waiting for it, it doesn't work. So I don't know.
Well, I kind of feel like I don't even have a speech at this point. Like if I'm talking about being resilient, you know, my speech isn't about how to be productive.
How to hang in there when times are tough?
Yeah. I mean,
okay, how do you hang in there when times are tough?
You just do. It's just not an option. I mean,
why is it not an option?
It's just part of life. And that's the whole thing, is that problems aren't an obstacle, problems are part of life. So just put on your big girl panties and deal with it. So maybe I'm not the right person. Maybe I don't have.
Okay, you need to have empathy for people who are not, you know,
yeah, I don't.
people.
I don't.
You need to, but you need to delve into your own thing. You just do it. It's very German, and it's not motivating. People like specifics. When, you know, what do? You just yell at yourself. You know, just do it. A lot of people need a little more like steps on how to get to where you're at. Not everybody is you, right?
Okay, so
let's ask Sandy. Hold on one second. Sandy?
Yeah.
Let's ask the people are here. So Sandy, when you don't want to do something, how do you motivate yourself to do it? What do you do? What kind of tricks do you have?
Although Bauer would probably consider you the enemy and climb up.
Huh?
He doesn't know me. It might be fun to have.
Let's see. Okay.
Well, say that again. You're real muffled.
Can you even hear me? I'm having a hard time getting back to the video. I'm not understanding.
Don't worry about it.
There we are. Okay.
Okay.
All right. How do I motivate myself? Actually, I spent a lot of time trying to motivate myself. So, you know, there's like two different things. One is you try to figure out what's going to like get you juiced, what's going to get you going. And then the other one is more of that willpower thing where you just allocate time. I mean, there's all sorts of games. Like one thing, when I have boring things that are hard to do, the environment makes a huge difference. I go and you know, get out of the house. I'm like you, Judy. I work for myself, don't have anybody over me. So, you know, I have different techniques for boring stuff, for things I'm easily distracted, I have to get out. Try to find other people that, you know, that you can work with or create an obligation, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you just got to beat yourself.
Well, I'll tell you some things that I have, Lori. The things that I have, you can like note them down or something, is when I look at my things of what I have to do, and the hardest one I'll do first. Like always like do the hardest thing first. Like I really want to talk to this friend. That's easy. I want to go smoke pot. That's easy. Right? But what's the hardest thing? Well, I got to call this person. I'm really nervous about this call, but I got to call. And then what I'll do is I'll reward myself. So that's another thing. So I go, I got to do this, and then I get that. And then the other thing that I do, if it's like making a lot of money of anything, I go, how am I going to spend that money? And I'll get kind of like a picture or something like I have to do these consultations with people, and they're paying me a lot of money, but it's really hard to motivate myself. And I'm going to ski the Matterhorn. So I'll have a picture of the Matterhorn on my desk. So why am I doing this? To keep it in front of me. Have a picture. Have a reward, create a punishment system. I mean, these are all things that can do. And when you say you don't have a speech, you don't have a speech yet. Nobody has anything yet. You have to build toward that, and you have to work towards that. And then you have to maybe, I always find that what people are working on is what they have to learn. So you're in the situation now of your audience. You say, I don't have a speech now. They're going, I really don't have a job now. I'm really not making the money I thought I would make. I don't like this. This is not working for me. So whatever you do to get yourself to solve the problem is the actual answer to the problem.
Got it.
What do you think about that, Lori?
I took copious notes, and I'm going to digest it, and I'm not going to blow it off, and I'm going to take it to heart.
But it's really true. The answer to you putting a speech together is.
I know, but Judy, I haven't been here since September because I've been stuck on this one spot. I was running.
Here you are, and but then, however you get unstuck, you need to learn something a little more to write this speech. And what you need to learn is the answer. And however you unstuck yourself, you need to live a little more life. And however you unstick your steps, you're going to stop. Now you're taking a helicopter view above yourself, right? Things are not what they appear to be. So this could be your helicopter view of yourself. And you're going to look down at yourself and go, well, I'm stuck, and I don't have a thing, and I don't have a speech, and screw it, I'm quitting. So you're in the exact same position as your audience.
Okay.
Right? And
Yes.
You just got to live a little more life. God.
I could throw in a couple comments because I have to write speeches for Toastmasters. So I've dealt with that speech block thing a few times, and a little bit sort of like what I was saying. So there's a couple of things I do. One is I do have to get myself out of all distractions. I go to a local cafe, so that minimizes a
change of environment. Try all these things, Lori. See which one works for you.
The other thing I do is if I'm having a real hard time just getting started, I'll start Google searches on the subject that I want to write just to get my brain cycles on the subject.
Yeah.
And I'll do that. And then, the last thing is it's a little bit of patience. I'll often have, I'll have like a big multi-hour block, and I have to say, the first half hour, 45 minutes, nothing really gets rolling, but I stay there until I finally get rolling on what I have to write on. And lastly is you want to write it just right. Sometimes you do that crude, just write whatever comes to your mind or what you don't think it's quite the right thing, and just start writing after a while. But there's definitely a big block to getting a speech going. Yeah,
and another thing is whatever you're doing, this is a really good thing. Do something friggin' different. Like if you go, I'm going to, write at 4 or work at 4. No, I've been working at 5 a.m. because unfortunately I have a cat who wakes me up 5 a.m. once, and I just, I hate this cat. I hate this cat. Well, what I did was surrender to the cat and just go, all right, I got to get up and feed this friggin' cat. And And then I went, I'm going to write. And I found out in the morning and when it's all happening. Oh my God, it was great. It's been great. So, you know, it's do something different. Sandy's ideas were great. Write in a different space, write a different time, you know. Anyway, I'm really
taking
looking.
up way too much of your time, but this has given me a lot to go on. I'm going to go back to the drawing board and I will just keep.
Well, yeah, and don't be afraid to take up people's time. You're worth it. Sandy, my friend, really good ideas.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, really good. So what can I help you with?
So, you know, I signed up through the Toastmasters and I worked on the message of you, but the real motivator there was the comedy. So I've done, I have just a short, you know, maybe a 1 minute here of what would be sort of a stand-up routine using some of your formulas. And I just wanted to throw that out at you and for
I'll take
critique.
Notes. Okay.
And then from there, I can go to some of the big picture things of what I'm trying to go. But I want to see how, get your critique on this.
Okay, go to it, Sandy.
Okay. I beat myself up. I ruminate. I regret. I just don't let go. Woohoo! But there are upsides. I never get bored. I just think about all my failures. When people say don't wallow in self-pity, I have solid arguments why I should, and I always win those arguments. And I don't have half-assed regrets like I didn't ask Julie out in high school. No, I have first-class regrets. I got fired twice from my job. I've totaled a car by driving it off a cliff. And once I went a whole week without eating chocolate. I was having the shakes so bad from withdrawal that I totaled the second car. No, really, you shouldn't beat yourself up. All the psychologists say it just gives you low self-esteem, makes you feel depressed and bad. I said to my psychologist, you know, I've been taking your advice. I've stopped regretting my reckless spending. And, oh, by the way, I won't be able to pay your bill today. So that's it.
Okay. So what formula is this?
The first formula, so it started off with a formula, you know, a defect in yourself.
Okay, so what's the defect?
And the woohoo, that's the.
Okay, let's try that. Let's do that. What was the defect? I'm blank, woohoo. Hey, there are advantages to being that one, right?
Yeah, I said, but there are upsides, but yeah.
Yeah, so you start changing words, you're not in it. So let's just.
Oh, so it needs to be those exact words.
Oh, yeah. So here we go. I'm blah, blah, woohoo. What was the defect?
I beat myself up. I ruminate.
Wait. I'm blank. So I'm fat. Woohoo! There's advantages. If you're in Wisconsin during the winter, you want to sleep with this body.
Right.
That's the joke. I'm blank. Woohoo! There are advantages. Okay, so go ahead. What are you?
So I didn't find anything that had a look to it. So it was a trait.
What was the trait?
I beat myself up. I regret. I ruminate.
That's things you do. That's not things you are. That won't work. I ruminate. Oh, that's horrible. No, you want to do things where you're not like, how old are you?
62.
I'm in my 60s. Woohoo! There are advantages. Oh, just try this. Yeah, women dig dudes in their 60s. Are you rich?
No.
Okay, the idea is it's things how you're not the hot guy, the model guy. You're not, a woman's not Barbie. So I'm a broke guy in my 60s. Try that. Ready?
But I don't have the follow-on line.
No, we're writing it right now.
Okay.
I'm a broke guy in my, are you married, single, whatever?
I'm married. Now, I'm like, one of the things I contemplate is I'm somewhat short, but I don't think I'm quite short enough.
Just try this, we're on something. Ready?
What?
I'm a broke 60-year-old. Just say that.
I'm a broke 60-year-old. Woohoo!
Okay, good. Now that's funny. That'll get a laugh. You're admitting something, right? Hey,
Okay.
just try this. Women dig guys like me.
Women dig guys like me.
Okay, right? What's the upshot to being with a guy who's broken in his 60s?
What is it? No long-term commitment. I don't know.
You wrote a great joke. The problem was what you were admitting wasn't like an admit. It wasn't like, those are things that people talk about, but it's not like people, you know, it has to be a something that's like embarrassing to admit or the joke won't work. Okay? Okay, great.
So you don't think regretting and beating yourself up falls in that category?
No, that's a description of something you do. It's not a defect.
But it's a bad thing to do.
I won't argue with you. I don't think people laugh, but when you go, I'm
Okay.
broken, I'm in. Woo, yeah. Hey, women dig guys like me. Really, not such a long commitment. Right? Right? You might get in my will. I don't know. You know, that stuff. You know?
Okay.
All right. So that's that. What was the next thing you did?
The next joke that I came up with.
Let me ask you something. Here, let me just show you. The problem is, as far as comedy goes, you're telling stories. Now, stories are never stand-up. Stand-up is a setup and a payoff. A setup, payoff. So when you go, I beat myself up, I do this and I do that, it's like, and a setup never has, usually doesn't, some of these formulas it does, but it usually doesn't have I. How many of you, like, how long have you been married, Sandy?
Oh, like 28 years.
Okay, put the word hard in front of it.
A hard 28 years?
It's hard being married. Go ahead.
Okay.
Just say that.
It's hard being married 28 years.
Because?
It's hard being married 28 years because it gets boring. I don't know.
Yeah, perfect, right? Because it gets boring, right? Now, did you say the word I in any of that?
No.
What did you say? It's hard because it gets boring, right?
Yeah.
And everybody goes, great. Now we want an act, perfect. And now we do an act out and that's it. And then you set up another joke. It gets boring. What's boring?
What's boring?
Yeah.
Oh, what about what in the marriage is boring is what you're asking. Oh, same thing every day. What things are boring?
All right, same thing every day.
Same meals.
Same thing every day, right? Same thing every day.
Or how
Act it
about
out.
the same meals over and over?
No, same thing every day. Act it out. Same things you say to each other every day. What do you say? Do an act out of it.
An act out. What do we say to each other every day? Good morning. Or, I don't know. Same. I'm coming up blank.
Well, what'd she say to you this morning?
Pretty generic. Just
Yeah, that's right. Tell me. She said, Sandy.
Who's going to use the bathroom first?
She said, oh, who's going to use the bathroom first? I need to use the bathroom, right? Is that what she said?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You only have one bathroom? Oh my God.
No, we just have one bathroom off the bedroom, but or use the shower first is what it literally is.
Okay.
She's going to use the shower
now
first.
You're talking about real stuff. All right. Talking about real stuff. And I'm going to suggest to you, I'm going to give you a really, really fantastic homework assignment.
Okay.
All right. Because I see you're a guy who likes homework. Let me just go. Oh my God. All right, 1 second. I'm gonna get this for you. Okay. All right, hold it 1 second. All right, 1 sec, sorry. All right, I'm going to put it in chat here, and you'll see it in the chat. Watch this YouTube video on the very topic of long-term marriages, and Tom Pappas does 20 minutes on it, and he's genius. And watch it, it's hysterical, and you'll see like how to do stand-up. Okay?
So I'd click on this afterwards and look at the video. Is that the idea?
Click on it now. Yeah, it'll open up in a browser for you and save it and watch it.
Okay, copy link. All right, there we go.
Yeah, okay, so fantastic. Love Tom, but you know, you'll see how to do stand-up when you watch that, because it's about your topic and your premise, and then an act out. And he acts out, you know, the dinner table, and he acts out those things, and and you'll be laughing your pants off, and you go, okay, I get how this works now. It's not a story. Stand-up is like you set up and a payoff, and it's usually an act out, you know, about a topic. And then you take the thing as, well, it's boring because he keeps, you know, it's hard, and use those words, hard, weird, scary, stupid. It's hard because you're always, you know, doing the same thing, and you're always saying the same thing. And it's like, and it's hard because like sex is boring, you know, if you still have it, you know. You know, there's only scheduled sex. There's spontaneous sex is no more. There's no like, there's no like, wow, this is great. Let's do in the morning. I can't wait. No, there's no spontaneity. Everything is planned. Everything is an errand. That another thing that's hard is everything is an errand. So you keep wanting to make a list of everything that's hard, and then you try and get to an act out, and you just act out the other person. You act out yourself. You act out a little conversation. That's stand up. Okay. And then you had another question about something?
Well, maybe to do a story, do you cover that in the a funny story? Do you cover that in the TYMOTTOM whatever?
Oh, well, you know, if you write a funny story, I work with a lot of Toastmaster people, and I say write a story that's compelling, have it make sense, you know, write a story. And then you come to a topic and you do a riff on that, you do a riff on that. I'm writing a story, and I can show you an example, and you insert a formula in the story. So I will, I'll show you like an example how that works.
Okay.
One. And let's just see. I just wrote a joke here. Grandpa. Okay, so let's just see. I'll share this with you. So this is, I'm writing a one-person show, which is a story, but it's going to have a lot of comedy in it. Okay, so here it is. All right, and I'll show you. Okay. Here is, you know, the list of three. It's, you know, list of three is,
ding, ding, ding.
Okay, so here, Grandma, and this is not stand-up, this is a story. Grandma and Grandpa settled in the Pico Robertson area, which had more Jews in it percentage-wise than Israel. Actually, that was Grandpa's name, Israel Silverman, and if that wasn't Jewish enough, his middle name was Moses. That's how he signed my birthday cards, your grandpa Israel Moses Silverman. But Grandpa was never home. He had a lot of businesses, drapes, laundromats, another family. So right there is like, so here's the story. Grandpa was never home, but then I put in the formula of the list of three, where a lot of businesses, drapes, laundromats, another family.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it. But this is not stand-up. This is a story, you know. And then and then here's a dialogue joke, you know, with my grandmother. This is so stupid and ridiculous, the sperm banks. Sperm banks? What nonsense. How can you trust a place where everything's frozen and nothing fresh? What? So it's a dialogue joke. So I'm telling a story about my grandma, and then I insert a joke.
Yeah.
You know, my parents, and then back to the story. Okay, so that's how you do it. You know, you write the story and you have it make sense. Right now, I'm going over it and putting in the jokes. But first, I write the story.
All right. So let me just okay, talk about the big picture, and maybe you can see which ones to apply. Stand up probably isn't it. So my ultimate desire here is to try to break through political barriers. Right now, as you know, we are extremely divided with two different sides, and I've talked with multiple people, let's say liberals trying to talk with conservatives, and they say the conversations go nowhere. They try to discuss the facts, and
Okay,
it's
but
something
what
like,
are you
I
getting
don't
to?
believe that, I don't want to talk about that, and it goes nowhere. And I thought comedy, to start off with comedy, would be the way to break through a political barrier where you would eventually work up to your message and what you're trying to say. But if you just start with your message, you have like,
well, here's the thing, political humor
persuasions just turned you off.
Okay, I'm going to give you advice. I don't know what you want to do, but political humor is done by, Stephen Colbert and John Oliver, and that's what, it's all about. I would suggest that you watch Seth Meyers' brilliant new, on Netflix, his brilliant new comedy special. I hear it's just genius. And one thing that we do when we talk about politics, you must personalize it. Like, for instance, all right, I'll just show you just another thing I just wrote, and which is a way to talk about it in a way where you have to bring in the personal. So here, I'm going to start here. Dad started to drink. We were all scared of him. Trump reminds me of him. Just like Trump, my father also distorted facts. This was before Twitter. Back then, we just called it bitter. As a child, I would say, I'm cold, I need a sweater. He'd reprimand, wrong, it's hot, you're fine. See, my father was also a climate change denier. When the neighborhood kids ran on our lawn, my father would yell, for crying out loud, and threaten to build a wall around the yard and insisting that the kids pay for it. Anyway, so, that it just, I would keep away from political humor, and I would just be more revealing of yourself. But again, if you write a story and you want someone to help you, many people who do punch up, for $100 an hour or even less. And,
what's punch up?
Punch up is they take a story and they make it funnier. Okay.
So somebody else makes your story funnier.
Oh yeah. I do that all the time. I had a story I was doing for a Netflix pilot. So I ran it through somebody and they gave me like a lot of jokes that I, didn't see. I mean, it was funny. Everything I write is pretty funny, but I wanted it funnier. So everybody in comedy works with someone. Okay. So I'll do John and then we'll see if there's any other questions. Okay. So
Sure.
John,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, let's see, where am I?
Did you do the gig, John?
I did.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. How'd it go?
Oh, it went very well.
Oh, yay. That's wonderful.
I'm just going to get some more gigs now, but they're going to be shorter. I have to cut them down to half an hour for a Rotary presentation.
Okay.
And I've actually cut it back to 5 lessons. And now I'm just working on the intro and the 3 takeaways I can give them.
Okay. Did you want me to look at something?
Not today. I'm
Okay.
just.
Well, John, I just want to say I'm so proud of you. I'm just so freaking proud. I mean, do you feel like your whole message worked?
Oh yeah, it did. It did.
Yeah. And about how the lessons, because it took us a long time to find that, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. But I think I've narrowed it down now.
Oh,
fantastic. I think in 3. So if I can come up with 3 main takeaways, that's what's going to work for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think it's all about the details. They say don't sweat the small stuff, but that's bullshit, isn't it, John?
Oh, it is. Yeah. No, you.
You should put that in your speech. They say don't sweat the small stuff, but that is bullshit. It's always the small stuff that'll get you down.
Well, my mentor once told me there are three secrets to success, and that's be there, be on time, and be prepared.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. But you never can be prepared because there's always something that's going to happen. A friend of mine, she was, her life was going great. She thought she got everything together, and she's like finally exercising, right? And she goes on a hike, and she's bit by a rattlesnake. Like, how can you anticipate that?
Well, I guess you watch where you're stepping.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always something.
But
all right,
I do find, though, that
yeah.
If you're prepared, you can deal with the emergencies as they come up. What really causes accidents is people just stop paying attention.
Yeah, yeah. And don't pay attention to the warning signs. Like
That's right. That's right.
To the warning signs. Like I always found myself, like I'm in a car, I almost hit somebody, and then I go, okay, that's a warning from God. Really pay attention. I almost hit somebody. I wasn't paying attention. It's a wake up. Maybe that's a really good thing is near accidents are wake up calls to change our lives, to be more prepared.
That's true. That's true.
Well,
or other people.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Don't you think? Like wake up calls.
Yeah. I had a friend who's thought his marriage was going along swimmingly. And one day he found out that his bank accounts were cleaned out and his wife had gone and all his credit cards were canceled. No, seriously.
Uh-huh.
And we talked about that, and the warning signs were there. He'd just been missing them, right, left, and center.
What did he feel was the first warning sign?
Well, he hadn't really been paying attention to her, and she said it more than once, and he just sort of blew it off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so all his credit cards are canceled in the dumpster. It's not Harvey Weinstein, is it?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
okay.
He had more problems than just a wife he wasn't paying attention to.
Yeah, right. All right, so I'm glad you're doing great. Does anybody have any other questions? Lori, Sandy, John, anything? Anybody?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put together my introduction and then my 3 takeaways for next time for you.
Is it the introduction that they give to you?
No, it's one that I would give to them during my speech.
Oh, the beginning, not the introduction. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
All
right. Fantastic. Just remember, lead with a rhetorical question. Always a really good suggestion to engage an audience is to ask them something.
Oh, yeah. No. Well, I'm an attorney. I know that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So anything else? Anybody? We got some extra time here. Not too many people here. Going once.
Yeah. So I have one kind of question here. Just a comment on a question about political humor. So a lot of political humor sort of is talking to one side, and it's only funny for one side. Are there people who do political humor that's like more neutral, that is funny no matter what your persuasion is, rather than making fun of one perspective?
May I jump in there, Judy?
Please.
Yeah, my wife told me that when I do stand up, I have to stay away from politics, religion, and sex. And I told her I can handle 2 out of 3. But what I also figured is that if I start doing political humor, I'm going to turn off half the audience right away, and I'm never going to get them back. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to do that much with the ones I keep. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, and I guess wouldn't really serve my purpose. I'm not going up there to alienate part of the audience.
Yeah, I will tell you that when I'm in the audience, when people start doing political humor, I usually get turned off because I see it as more nasty than funny for the most part.
Here's the thing. Give me one of your jokes, Sandy.
One of my jokes.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, no, really, you shouldn't beat yourself up. All the psychologists say it just gives you low self-esteem, makes you depressed and feel bad. So I said to my psychologist, you know, I decided to take your advice and I've stopped regretting my reckless spending.
Wait, is this a political joke?
No, it's not.
Oh, that's what I was asking. Because you're going, can I do a political joke? I said, do a political joke.
Oh, I'm sorry. Political joke. Let me.
Have you written one?
Pull one up. See if I can get one at my fingertips here. All right. Pull this up. Let's see. Pass on it. Well, I have to say the political jokes I have are one-sided, and
let me hear one.
But yeah, and just
here's the thing about comedy, okay? Yep. And that is whatever you have as a burning desire to do, you do it, regardless of what people will think. And if you're good at it, you will find a place to do it. It doesn't matter. Mark, I'll give you somebody else who's doing incredible political humor is Mark Moran. My God, watch some of his stuff. He's a genius at it. So funny. Just saw him at the Comedy Store. So there's no such thing as a topic that you can't talk about. I mean, that's ridiculous to say, oh, we can't talk about this president. It divides people. You do comedy and the stand-ups place is when you do what you want to do, but it has to be good. And that's it. Doesn't matter what your topic is. You talk about what you want to talk about. So,
Judy, do you think you'd get away with doing gay jokes in Hollywood?
What do you mean?
I mean, if you did gay jokes in Hollywood, I think you'd be carried off the stage in a box.
Why? What kind of gay jokes?
Any kind of gay jokes.
I'll do a gay jokes. God, it's hard being gay. It's a lot easier being an African American because at least when you're an African American, you don't have to tell your parents.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. I like that.
Right? It's like, Mom, Dad, I'm Black. Oh no, where did we go wrong? I can't help it. I was born this way. I mean, you know, like I'm saying, there's no topic you can't do. Sarah Silverman is doing rape jokes. Dana Gould was like, his last special, he was pushing the line. He lost me because he was doing a joke about molestation that was just, I went like, okay, too far. He lost me. But I will always fight for anybody's right to do whatever kind of humor they want to do. So there's no topic that you can't do. You just have to suffer the consequences. Certainly, you know, right now we're in a cancel culture. So like when people step over the line, you know, like Kathy Griffin did a joke it wasn't that funny of a joke, but Trump's head or whatever, and she's demonized and has the FBI on her. I mean, that's not the world I want to live in. I mean, I'm a total First Amendment's right girl.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And I think if we make fun of ourselves.
Give me another topic. I'll write a joke about it. Give me the worst topic. I can write a joke about it. There's nothing you can't write a joke about.
Hey, can I run an idea past you?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a lie detector. I mean, this isn't a joke. This is what I do. And I wrote a book about how to tell if people are lying. So I recently had an idea about, since I have that unique skill and experience, that would be good for a stand-up set to talk about.
No, it's good for your speech. Are you kidding? To create resiliency? No, and people are lying to you. Because when you put like all your trust in someone who's a liar, you're going to lose your motivation.
I mean, that is, but my heart story is based on that.
Mm-hmm.
But just separate than the speech, because I sometimes just still do stand-up, which is not part of the speech. But I was thinking it would be kind of fun to do a set based on, like, now that my children are grown and flown, all the times that they were lying to me. I mean, I haven't quite wrapped my head around it yet, but I was like, it would be
Anything
good.
you want to do. I hope, I'm putting out my new book, The New Comedy Bible, and it's going to have exercise to help you deal with all this stuff. Whatever you want to talk about, as long as it's funny. But I think this is one of your techniques that should go in your speech. Listen, people, stand-up is excruciatingly hard to do. You have to get a laugh every 10 seconds. Everything has to be minutia of it, has to pay off. If you're going to do stand-up, you got to be out at the clubs 4 nights a week, doing like short sets, trying out new material. And if you want to do that, go do that. But I'm telling you, it's a tough road to hoe. But learning some techniques and doing a speech, most of the people who study with me have been more successful as speakers than comics. So, but if you want to go do that and put all the effort into that, most likely.
Well, I've been doing it, and there's a couple of festivals that I do every year. So I was just trying to think about getting a new set together for the next festival. Yeah. Still keeping my main focus on the speech, but I also still enjoy, I've been doing comedy for years. I don't want to give it up entirely.
Yeah.
But I just thought, if I have a whole set revolving around lies, right, that would be something that not a lot of people do.
Well, that doesn't matter. The topic isn't what's important, it's what you do with it. So, if you got some really great jokes, about on the topic of lying, the thing is your topic has to be relatable to the audience. So that's that with that. That's why I went over that's why there's like 7 topics, dating, being married, relationships. It's anyway. Okay, you guys have anything else? Then I'm going to say great seeing you this afternoon. And congratulations again, John. You're awesome. Rocking it. And Lori, hang in there. Have some resiliency, Lori. Sandy, really good. Writing some jokes. All good.
All right.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you much.